Yo, what is up, guys? Eliaz here.
And Cole, the co-host of the InspoCast, where we bring future fitness superstars straight to your ear. And before we get into our awesome guests for today, we want to let you know about all of our awesome guests and how you can hear about all of the awesome guests that we've had on here. So tell them where they can find us.
Make sure you guys follow us on TikTok and Instagram. That's inspo._cast. And make sure you guys go check us out on YouTube and Spotify. And we're going to be also expanding to other platforms.
On top of that, also check out InspoCast.com, which is our website. That is going to feature all of our social media links. It has a calendar with every single guest that we've had on there, description, and it will take you straight to the video. But that is all we got for shameless plugs. Without further ado, let's get into our guest for today.
Liftoff. Start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition.
Let's go. We're live, baby. We're on for episode 20 of the InspoCast. That's kind of crazy, dude. I can't believe it. I mean, we talked about, when we hit 10, we're like, we just got to hit 10 more. And that was kind of the milestone. And we're like, we're going to do another collab. We're going to bring back episode 1, but episode 20 instead. And here we are, dude. Holy shit. So, hey, congrats to us. High five, baby. So, yeah, hey, welcome to episode 20, folks. Today's guests are going to be, the co-host of the InspoCast, and we're going to be giving you basically all the updates on the past, how the past 2 months has ran for us and what's in store for the future. And just like just shoot the shit, honestly, too, because I kind of want to hear about what's been going on with you, because we haven't talked like too much. We've been so busy with the podcast. But, I want to just start with how was your experience the past 2 months? So, I mean, we've been doing this for 2 months now. We pushed out 10 episodes a month, basically. That's crazy, dude. Kind of sizing ourselves up to some of the other podcasts. Like, we are well on track to hit 50 episodes by August, right? Which is going to be kind of crazy. 6 months in, 50 episodes. But the first 2 months, what's been your experience so far with this? Start from the very beginning, dude. Talk about when we first started.
When we first started, it was like a unreal experience being behind the mic. And every time I'm behind the mic, I'm just excited, grateful to be able to do it. And at first, there's a lot of difficulties. We can go into that later.
Oh my gosh!
And it was kind of stressful sometimes, but we knew that to do this, that's what it takes. It takes hard work, and advice for anybody trying to do anything with their life, chase whatever dream, passion you have, just start. Because everybody's gonna be when's the best time to do something? And there is no best time. You just got to start that shit and just stay consistent, and the hard work will pay off.
I agree. I guarantee 6 months from now, people are going to ask us how we did it. And that's the best advice I could probably give anybody, because I know we're just starting. Hell, we've even had messages who the hell are these dudes? These no-blow Joes that are starting a podcast. It's everybody starts at ground zero. You can't be afraid to just start, because if you do, then you're just never going to reach your life potential. So I 100% agree. And also, hey, before we really get into this conversation, because we didn't do shameless plugs at the beginning of this, screw that, because you know who we are. Make sure to like and comment on this video. Oh gosh, never mind. It was work related. Anyways, make sure to like and comment on this video. What should they comment in the comment section? Oh, actually, what you need to comment in this comment section below is hashtag Daryl.
Hashtag Daryl.
That's for my boy Caleb, by the way. He just texted me, so I told him I'd do that for him. So hashtag Daryl. Long story. But anyways, dude, it's been a crazy 2 months for us. And I agree, dude, just starting in the first place is the biggest thing. But you will come and hit obstacles in your journey. That is 100% facts. I know we talked about this yesterday, but talk about the one that we did for that one episode where we did basically our first online podcast with Brennan.
Oh yeah. So we were having trouble with the editing. Well, he does a lot of it. And so basically, like, the file, for some reason, like, the audio, one of the clips, like, the audio clip versus the video clip, the audio clip was, like, longer. And, like, we couldn't figure out how to get it to how it was. And so, like, I don't know how he did it. He did it. It took, like, 8 hours, and it was a hassle.
Bro, actually, this would be interesting for the audience. So, like, this is literally how we do these podcasts, by the way. So it's like the in-person ones are actually pretty easy. Like, we just have a camera right there, a little ring light action, baby. And, you know, we just take the audio that records separately on this computer right here. That's why it's always up here. And we just take that video that's right there. And then we just put it on like an editing software. So like, even if we fuck up or something like that, we can just cut those out really quick. I know you'll probably see that in a couple of the episodes. But bam, done. I mean, honestly, it probably takes like 5-10 minutes to do those. The online ones though, totally different animal because we're recording from 3 different like modalities. It's like his computer is one where we're recording the guest, and we're trying to figure out better ways to do it. I mean, we're going to be investing more money into like, I mean, potentially something like Riverside that would actually like help us out a lot. Go look that up yourself if you want to learn what that is. Not even worth explaining. But recording, like screen recording, like either a FaceTime or we've been using Discord a lot because that's honestly a lot better. And then doing the same thing with the video and the audio. But it was super weird when we first started because it was like the audio clip would not, even if we recorded it the exact same time length, like if the episode was an hour and we press start on both and finish on both at the same exact time, it would be like different lengths. I don't know how else to explain it. So like we spent fucking that episode he's talking about, I literally spent 8 hours trying to do it. And then my computer sucks ass. Like I was having storage issues. So like I figured it out and then it didn't work because I ran out of storage. So I couldn't do anything. And then we just had to do it on his fucking computer. So it was like we literally spent probably 11 hours doing episode.
I actually think we fell asleep and didn't finish it. And I came back the next morning and we finished it the next morning.
Actually, that's facts. Like it was the most demoralizing thing ever. Like when you record a 2-hour podcast and you spend that much time, you're like, bro, we have to do this. Like I'm not wasting this footage and just saying ditch this episode. Like we put way too much into that. So no, yeah, I think it was like 8 hours and it was like 1 in the morning and I was like, fuck it, bro. Like, let's just do this tomorrow. And we've had a lot of those nights too. Like people don't even understand. A lot of times we're recording at like probably 9 to 11 at night. Like a week ago, we did 4 episodes in one weekend that we've been it was 14 through 17. And there was like one night, I swear to God, there's been several that we've been up till like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. So yeah, in terms of the podcast, bro, it's been like trying to do the episodes has been crazy, but we've just been leveling up basically every single podcast. I feel like, I mean, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, it just keeps getting better and better. I mean, the feedback's coming in, so we're obviously doing something right.
Dude, that's facts. And I think the one thing that you did right in all of this was like, you've tapped into kind of like your networking and stuff like that. And you were just like, bro, I can get this dude on. And I remember the first person that we had on, Alex Cabrera, the first like person we didn't really know, you know, that we had on. Like, I'm so grateful for that because that put us on a path of like, wow, we can really do this. And yeah, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We just kind of like winged it, and then it actually turned out really good. Despite viewership on any of these, I think the videos that we actually spent the most time on probably have some of the least amount of views, which is crazy. But then we did episode 13 with Abraham. I mean, that's at like almost 600 views right now.
It's over 600.
Is it really?
I can check it real quick.
Yo, it was at 563 yesterday.
Oh man,
dude, that's crazy. And that's the thing, man. Like, you know, there's a lot of podcasts out there. And I would say in this sphere, there's probably only 3. There's Anaka Power Radio, there is Legacy Loading, and then there's us that focus on kind of like the motivational fitness side of things with fitness influencers. And I would say that the huge advantage that those other 2 podcasts have is the fact that they're in a place where like fitness is the hub, you know? Whereas here, we're starting from literally like nothing. Like it's basically like we started with like 5 cents and it was just like figure it the fuck out, you know? So that's been like one of the difficulties, but we've overcome basically every obstacle. And now it's like the guests that we've had on have honestly exceeded all of our expectations. And now it's like putting us to, I don't want to call it different tiers of guests because I'm appreciative for anybody that we have on, but in terms of like raw social media following, it just keeps leveling up. And also, I would say engagement with your audience, which is probably What would you say that's more important than followers?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like, hey, shout out Abraham, by the way, dude. And he does really well. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, he has like fucking 200K on TikTok and he has like almost 10K on Instagram. But like that dude has stupid engagement with his audience. And so he brought a crap ton of viewership to this podcast.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
So he started a YouTube channel yesterday, and I was looking at it when he first launched it, and I followed him like at 17, and then I watched his video, and then the next day, today I looked at it, it was at 1,000 views, and he's already at like 500 subs in a day.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's like the power of social media, and especially like engaging with your audience, because now he's basically has like, it's like the Bodge, they have like quotes.
Yeah, no, Baj is another one. Who's like your favorite fitness influencer again? Who is it again?
Jack West.
No, the other one.
Martini.
Yeah. Justin Martini. Justin Martini has a cult-like following too, bro. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I would say something that we've emphasized on the podcast before is like creating everybody that we've had on. In essence, is trying to like create a community more than they are just trying to get raw social media followers. And I think it definitely shows when it comes even to like raw statistics like viewership, bro. Like if you really want to be successful in this field, it's not just about like posting sick content and having like 1 million followers. It's about having like, even if you had 10,000 followers, 10,000 people that really fuck with your shit, and you get crazy, like 80-90% engagement on that type of stuff. So that's kind of been, what else can we talk about in terms of like, I guess the past 2 months, what we had to go through. Yeah, the craziest shit actually I'll talk about is how we actually made this happen every single weekend, because this literally started as kind of like, I want to say just something fun. Like, and it still is, don't get me wrong, but now it's leveled up to a point where it's like, okay, no, this is like for real, And it was like, the first week that we started the podcast, we did 4 episodes that week. We did 2 YouTube videos. You did one, I did one. We shot hella photos. We probably shot like 300-400 photos that week too. And then it was kind of just like, okay, how do we keep doing this from here? Because it was like you were in Fort Wayne, so he was like 2 hours away, 4 hours round trip, and I was just chilling here. And I was like, I guess we could do virtual, blah, blah. No, this motherfucker literally drove like 4 hours, and not anymore, but like as of recently at least, but the past 2 months, it's been like every single weekend you driving here, basically 4 hours. So I'm curious about like for you in your personal life, like one, you were still in school. You still trying to pursue your own like social media content, right? Like post on TikTok consistently, like stay engaged with your audience, but also like come drive here, do this podcast. Like, how did you do all that shit, bro?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I know you know that. Okay, how did it make you feel though? Like, were there times where you're just like, fuck this, like I want to give up?
I actually love the drives because I would listen to our Real Bodybuilding podcast, and I would just keep up with these ones.
Yeah.
And so what I do when I listen to ours and I hear them back, I like think about what I could have said in the moment. So I basically just like develop my own skills at that moment for the podcast.
You're a true like student of the game, I like to call it. Like, so you're saying you would literally like listen to the InspoCast and like, because I remember he'd tell me that he'd be like, yo, I just watched episode 8. That shit's heat. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's facts.
Episode 4.
Yo, episode 4. See, honestly, dude, the first 10 were just heat AF. Yeah. And I would just say, I would call like 2 phases that we've been through so far. Like 1 through 10 is one phase, and then 11 through 20 has kind of been like a whole different phase too. Because 1 through 10, it was kind of like we were just trying to figure out like, okay, what the fuck are we trying to do, bro? Like because we were doing the podcast, but we didn't exactly know where we were going. And then once we started to get through, probably halfway through 11 through 20, we kind of had an idea of like, okay, this is where we want to go, And I think we talked about it of like really giving a spotlight to like the people in the fitness community that have those cult-like followings, but like just aren't, right now at least, aren't as recognized as some of those bigger figures that are, for whatever reason they are, maybe they do live out in Houston. They just sent it. Like, I mean, kudos to those people. Like, I'm not going to hate on them, but like, not everybody takes that route and takes that opportunity. So like to be able to give some of these people like a platform to talk and also create that kind of as like our brand, that's like super cool, And the other thing I always think about too is like, there was so much time, like throughout the past 2 months, there's been so much time that's been put into this podcast. Like even outside of like us raw, just doing the podcast, like I really think about like Monday through Friday, bro. It was like, so Sunday we'd be here sometimes even doing podcasts, and we try to make that like our day off. But like we probably do a podcast. He'd go home. We would kind of split up how we were going to do the reels and the TikToks and just all the highlight edits. So we do those. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're trying to figure out like who the guests are going to be for that week. Sometimes it was even like a last minute thing. Like last week when we had Baj and we had Rodney, that was almost like a last minute thing because we were kind of had something else planned, which is going to hit this week, you know? So it was kind of weird. But I know, bro, we would spend, and we still do, like literally hours on the phone, just like talking about like the InspoCast and where we want to take it and like what we want to do next. Like what do you think are like the cool additions that we've made to this podcast in the past 2 months? Like anything?
Just staying consistent. Plus the wall.
Yeah, the wall was cool, but
and
the other one I think about is the logo, bro.
Yeah.
Talk about that story.
So pretty much the way I kind of designed the logo when it first came out, just because I wanted something temporary that we could use for that moment until we like have a idea of what we're doing. And we ended up we're like, we gotta make a new logo because we're trying to expand it to like other things also. And so we're like sitting on the phone this one day, and we're like talking about designing a new logo, and we're on the phone for like 4 hours, basically just playing with the logos. And then we designed one that night, and then also shout out Big Matt,
Papa Booch.
Yeah, Papa Booch. He designed how many for us? It was
bro, he designed like 4.
Yeah, he designed like 4 for us, and then we took the best one from him, and then the one we made, and we put it on the vote on their stories, and it was a blowout.
Yeah, and then ours actually won. Sorry, Papa Booch.
Sorry.
Yo, the crazy shit though. Okay, so we use this platform called Canva, and if anybody's ever used like Google Drive before, you know how like like a Word document, like you could have 2 people on the Word document, right? So in Canva, you can do kind of like basically the same thing as that, but like make logos. So like basically both of us were like playing around with the logo at the same time, and we knew we're okay, like rocket ship and like a moon. That was like all we knew. And then we were like, how do we fucking make a logo? And then we were just like playing around with it. And then we'd be like, oh my God, wait, do this. And then when my dad showed us that, we're like, okay, now we got a better idea. And then finally, when we came up with the logo, it was like, bro, we just fucking did it. And then
the rocket, the moon for the IC InspoCast, baby.
Bro, it's crazy. And I think it's dope AF.
Yeah.
And that literally came from your boys truly. We didn't buy that shit. We fucking made that.
And once we make some fucking merch with that shit, it's going to be fucking heat.
No, that's crazy. And also, dude, we've made so many level ups to the to the studio too. Like, I mean, obviously the wall, as you can see, this is the first time the audience is actually going to see like the whole wall too. So these are like acoustic tiles. So basically it helps with like sound reduction and stuff like that. Cause we had some reverb we were hearing. So I was like, hey, fuck it. And it kind of adds like a little spicy touch. But outside of that, bro, I mean, we've got like a couple stands. We bought a new mic. We bought, bro, that whole table is just filled with shit. New fucking storage cards, bought an SD drive. Like, I mean,
got a dildo.
Yeah, we got a dildo. He's sitting on it right now, actually, on the chair.
Damn. Kind of played myself there.
But like dead ass in the past 2 months, we probably dropped a brick at least. Like I'd say like $1,500 or $2,000 on like just upgrades to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because like we actually were like, yo, we see a future with this, and I think that kind of helped us stay motivated too, for sure. Also building the website, that was dope AF. I remember we kind of talked about it. I was like, yo, I think we should have a website, like especially long term, and we'll talk about what we're gonna do long term too. But I was like, yo, what if we like sell merch or something like that? Then we have that, plus we, a place to kind of like a hub so that people can kind of see all of our shit. And I didn't design it right off the bat. I kind of played with it for a little bit, but then I was kind of like, fuck it, I just need to send it. And so I just remember I was just grinded it out for like 4 hours. I was like, fuck it, just see what you can do. And then I came up with the website we have now. By the way, go check out InspoCast.com so you can see all the updates for the pod. But I sent it to him, and he was like, bro, we're going to the fucking moon. Yo, that's literally his like main phrase too. Like we'll be texting and I'll just like say some crazy shit. Like, we'll talk about the guest that I hit up the other day on Monday. That shit was crazy. But I sent it to him, this guest, and he was like, bro, we're going to the fucking moon. It's like every time we're like leveling up, that's literally the phrase. So
Or the jet ski.
yeah, or jet ski or bet ski.
Betsky the jet ski.
Betsky the jet ski. So hey, introduce that into your vocab. Hashtag to the moon, baby. Because if you're really a real one, you aspire to do great things, you're going to the moon. So hashtag to the moon, baby.
Facts.
But yeah, I was just, like, what else? I'm trying to think of anything else that we've done in like the past 2 months, bro. Outside of just like the grinder weekends, dude. Like that's really been it. Like, and like you said at the very beginning of this, like if there's anybody out there that's like, yo, I like, how would I even do something like this? It's just like, you fucking send it, bro.
Just do it.
Like, you don't have to have all of this shit to be able to do it. Like, I was fortunate, bro. Like, I had most of this stuff from like 2 years ago. Long story short, I stumbled upon a bunch of money in college because of financial aid and like some COVID relief or something like that. So I dropped a bag and I just bought this stuff, and I didn't use it for like almost 2 years. I was just kind of like, I don't even know why the fuck I have this stuff. And it just like found a purpose at some point. But like, yo, even if we would have started with nothing, I guarantee we could have started with like 2 mics and a laptop.
Yeah.
And it would have worked out, you know? So like that's some word to the wise for the audience, bro. Like, you don't need thousands of dollars to be able to do something like this. It's just like, try to figure out what the bare essential pieces are to whatever you need and just send it. Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about like what we're trying to do in the future though? Yeah, because this week was kind of big for every week's fucking big, but like this week was fucking huge.
On what aspect?
Okay, talk about first merch.
All right, so we're planning on doing merch this summer. That's pretty much all I got.
Okay, that's fair enough. So the first thing I kind of told Elias, I was like, bro, if we're trying to brand this, like, one, we need a sick logo. That was the first thing that we needed. So we got that piece down. Then I was like, okay, now we can actually go do merch, which would be sick. And I think there's a lot of people long term that are gonna really find some inspiration from this podcast. I mean, there already are, but grow this audience, and like they want something tangible so that they can like really represent that brand, you know? Like, I think about like when I wear Alphalete, it means more than just like wearing Alphalete. It's like representing that brand, which is sick. So what I was thinking about doing, and I've talked to you about this, is like, because I mean, it's not like we're playing with like $100,000 here or some shit like that. Like, we can't just go manufacture a bunch of shit. It's like, yo, buy some patches, buy some like really nice shirts, heat press them bitches on there, and sell those. You know, and I think long term that's, or at least in the short term, that's what we're gonna do. So the audience here can have something tangible to really hold on to. But we're gonna make a little limited edition series with the InspoCast logo on and hashtag to the moon. Actually, audience, if y'all have any recommendations on any specific things that you'd want or want to see outside of just like shirts or even hats, I mean, we talk about that too. Let us know, because we're definitely like down for the feedback, like always. But long term, be able to at least like financially support this podcast a little bit more. Like, it's not about the money by any means, but like if we want to be able to level this up and do some of the things that we want to do long term, like we'll have to have some financial support to be able to go do some of those things, you know, and also just bring better content to the table, which is like, that's never a bad thing, you know. Like, we've talked about like, hey, what if we just hired a little like high school editor boy that just like fucking edits our reels and like posts those out there, you know? Or like a studio manager long term, where it's like, bro, all we have to do is just like show up to the pod and then just talk, and then we're done. You know what I'm saying? So that's long term. But the big long term right now is the guest list, because that's the shit that we're leveling up. So where do you think long-term, Papa Booch is here, by the way, but where do you think guest list long-term are going? Because I know we got some things in the pipeline right now coming in the future, but even foreshadow maybe the next month or two for them. Who we got coming on? I know.
Should I just say their names?
Yeah, might as well. Fuck
we got Vic Visual guaranteed.
Next week.
Oh, that's next week?
That's next week, dude.
Oh my God,
that's crazy, dude.
So
we should talk about that story too, but talk about our guest.
Yeah, a little bit about Vic. I don't know if he's from Lafayette, but he is.
He went to Jeff
school here. I don't know like when he moved away, but he went, I think, to the Marine Corps first, and then when he left that, I don't like know the details too much about it, but I know like he like saved up all his time off and like he was able to leave like at the end of his contract or whatever. And so he was like gonna dedicate all that time that he had free to basically filmmaking, which he was able to pursue like a full-time job pretty much. And then he never went back to the military because he was making pretty good money doing what he was doing.
Like, he basically created the opportunity for himself, and we've been super fortunate because that dude's been a supporter of the InspoCast probably since like day one, like no joke.
Day one.
And okay, talking about Vic though, so we got a chance to see him last week. He was here kind of on a whim. It's a long story. It was more like some personal stuff. But like I know I had to work out with him, and I know you got a chance to kind of sit around and talk. And just to like be able to talk to that dude and like just as a person, like not even a fan, bro, like just as a person was like insane. That dude lives a crazy life. He's had a lot of stuff happen. We didn't even get all the way into it, but like I think the crazy things like you talked about were like how he got that break and how he, you know, got out of the military basically. And then, you know, now what is he doing? Because he has some serious goals lined up for this next year. And that kind of leads into the next part of what the future for the InspoCast is, which is the Houston edition for the InspoCast, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, should we talk about it?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we won't say the names, but in essence, I hit up somebody in H-Town that's a very, very prominent figure there. We'll just call it that. And he was down to come on the InspoCast, but the only way he would do it is if we were in H-Town. We were in Houston. So I was like, okay. And Vic actually talked about it. He said in July, like later July, he was actually going to be headed there. So I was like, yo, what about this? What if us, Vic, and our boy from episode 3 and episode 4 and episode 10 from the collabcast, Jake Butcher, we all head down, little collab session with some of the Alpha Elite athletes and potentially some other people too. And we're going to run up a whole entire 10 episode series. That's the goal, at least. A whole 10 episode series, InspoCast Houston edition, episodes 40 through 50. While we're down there for like a week, which is going to be crazy, bro. We're going to literally film like 10 episodes in like 7 days, which is more than we've ever done in our lives. So a lot of technical stuff going on there, but I think the opportunity's definitely there. And I think long term for the InspoCast, that is like a huge step up for us. Like it's going to be to the point I was telling you this yesterday of like, yo, people are going to look at our episode 1 and be like, and then when they see those episodes, be like, how did these dudes literally go from like just a talk in their fucking basement to like going all the way to Houston to do this shit? And I think it just goes to show that like, if you really put your mind to something and you invest into it, like long term, what can really happen and what kind of impact you can make, not just on people, but like even for ourselves, bro. I think about that's literally like a life-changing opportunity for the both of us, which is crazy. Yeah. A man, a few words. I loved it. I know. Yo, talk about I want to hear about your updates on like your fitness and your physique right now.
Cut's been a little rough, you know. I love eating, but I'm about to die one. I say that every time though, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
But now I have a coach. Well, that's not a real coach, but it's like I'm treating it like a coach, so I can have like a second eye on me. Basically, like my posing and stuff. It's Colton.
Oh, shout out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have some sort of accountability,
and then
right?
we're training together now. So that's nice.
I've seen that.
So, I mean, the physique's there. I just got to get all of this extra energy off of me.
I like how you put it that way.
But yeah, I got some pretty big goals if you want to hear them.
Yeah, because
Upcoming goals.
Really quick, I was going to say, I mean, you basically started the cut maybe unofficially when we started the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I remember we were about a month in, and because I'll always be chefing up in here, and I offered some food. He's like, "Nah, I'm on the cut," and I'm like, "Okay, mad respect." So I've seen the intensity definitely dial in, but I do want to hear what the goals are.
So the goal for this summer, well, now that I got something to actually grind for, Houston, I gotta look sick while I'm down there.
Yep.
So also my birthday's in like 4 or 5 weeks, so I want to look decent for my birthday. So I guess get shredded by 8 weeks for H-Town, or at least lose like 15 pounds because that's like realistic in 8 weeks. And then after I get shredded sometime probably like September, October. I'm gonna do a long off-season prep, and then after that prep, I'm gonna do a show next year in the fall.
Like, you should do it like this September. Why?
I don't think I'd be in the right head space right now to do it, and yeah.
I don't know. I always encourage people that say they want to do a prep. It's like, just fucking do it, bro. Like, just get on stage, because I told you this. I was like, you're never gonna become an IFBB pro right off the bat. Like, I don't know what the statistic for that is, but I can only imagine it's probably like 1% that just like literally just been training their whole lives and like just finally decide they want to step on a stage. You know, like, how often does that happen? Not very. So it's like that, but the pro of stepping on the stage, even if you're not necessarily ready, is the valuable experience you learn, because like, you know, a year from now, you're going to be stepping on stage and those judges are going to be critiquing you, and they're going to be the ones giving you the valuable feedback that you actually need to excel in your physique, right? Like, hey, you're underdeveloped here and this, but you're actually good here. Like, that's probably the most valuable feedback that you'll get outside of like hiring a coach, you know, that's been through the shits. So I think even if you don't think you're ready, I mean, here's the thing, you'll never be ready, right? That's for anything in life. So, hey, just something to contemplate. If it's a financial thing, that's one thing, but if it's just like a mindset thing. Also. Yeah. So I definitely understand from a financial standpoint, because it's definitely something that you have to invest into, like, long run. But no, dude, so 15 pounds in the next...
It's like 2 pounds a week.
Damn.
So pretty much like 1,000 calorie deficit a day.
Yeah.
It's
a lot, but I mean, hey, long term, it's going to be worth it. And I think being absolutely dicey sliced for Houston would be awesome, because that trip is going to be so sick. So I know we haven't really dove into it that much either. Like, I think we just started talking about it basically like just last night. Yeah. But it's kind of like, go get an Airbnb down there, get some flights. And just kind of like figuring out what all the costs for all of it's going to be, and then just trying to see who's all going to be on board and see if we can get the right like time frame. I've been kind of playing around with the times for the plane tickets, and it actually makes a big difference on the price. So I was like, even if we go some different days, like if it's like affordable, then like, let's just fucking send it, but like down there, I have no expectations. I really don't, because like, it is like networking heaven basically for a fitness influencer in Houston. Like, I just can only imagine we're going to see people that we never thought we'd see. And I mean, obviously we already have, when we go down there, we have the one guest lined up for sure, guaranteed. But after that, then it's like, who can he put on for us, or who could we even meet to bring on, which is going to be crazy. Like, I guess for you, what are some, outside of like the InspoCast, do you have any like personal goals that you want to hit while you're down there?
Meet some people I've always wanted to meet. Maybe get them in my YouTube video, get them on the podcast, and overall just have a good time.
Facts. So you want to do your own YouTube video then?
Yeah.
What do you want to like talk about, or what do you want to like do for your
probably
video?
Just do like a Houston Serious vlog.
That'd be kind of sicko mode.
Sicko mode.
Yes, sir. Damn, that'd be sick. Let's go. What else? What else you want to talk about? We've talked about a lot so far. We've talked about basically the past 2 months in the InspoCast. We've talked about, and I guess we haven't talked too much about the future of the InspoCast, because I just think there's a lot of unknown too. Yeah. Like, I know we have some guests like I want to call it like in the pipeline, like people that we haven't necessarily talked to, but kind of like a hit list of like people that we want to get on. Like one person, I'm just going to say it, like one person that we talked to, Connor Sanon. I mean, I know he's the editor for Shulk. Like, we would love to have Shulk on here. One, because I mean, that dude's a massive influencer. Like, I'm not even going to cap about that, but that's not really the reason. I think he's just an interesting dude, and that dude's amassed a physique that 99% of people will never will in their entire lives, and he's natty, bro. He's natty.
Damn.
That's crazy, dude. So have him. And honestly, audience, if you have any recommendations for guests, because at this point, we're quite literally shooting for the moon. Like, anybody outside of Arnold right now, he's going to be a year from now. But anybody's on the table, I would say. At least we're gonna try our best to get him on, I would say. Yeah.
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 Who's a guest you want to get on?
Who's a guest I want to get on?
Like to the moon, like shooting to the moon.
Christian Guzman.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to be honest, because that one, not even because it's unreasonable. I think it's reasonable to say that we could potentially get him on. He's just a very busy guy. That's the biggest thing. So it had to be like, I don't think it would be in our first trip in Houston. Like how I see it right now is like we go down to Houston and we're going to meet a lot of people down there and we're going to link up and we're going to have some podcasts for sure. But that's going to kind of leave our mark on Houston and also bring that legacy back with us to Lafayette, which is going to be like, damn, these guys are for real. It's probably going to be on the next maybe second or third time that we go down there where it's really going to be like we have a potential to get him on, because I think we'll have more time to kind of figure out like get in contact with that dude, like for real. Like I'm not saying get his digits, but like actually like have some point of contact to talk to him and then figure out a time to actually get him on. And that dude, I've seen podcasts with him. I mean, that dude's like an inspirational figure to me. One, because I'm like, I aspire to be an entrepreneur, and he's also inspired me to go down this fitness rabbit hole in the first place. And I've seen him talk before, and like his life, dude, is crazy. Like the things that successful entrepreneurs have to do to really excel is like stuff that you could never imagine. Like he literally slept at Alpha Land for basically 2 years.
Damn.
To actually make that thing like pop. So that would probably be one. I mean, dude, like Vic has always been on like my hit list. Like to have him on is such a to have him on the future here coming soon is like an absolute blessing, dude.
Yeah.
And just getting to talk to him, like I got a little chance. I know you didn't get as much time, but like all of us got some time after I had a gym sesh with him. That dude actually murked me, by the way. Holy shit. We hit shoulders, and yeah, I'm a little untrained, I'm going to be honest, but like that dude is a monster. And I literally was feeling the pain for like, I'm still kind of feeling it. I'm not going to lie. And that was like 6 days ago. Yeah, it was crazy. But to talk more about his life though, and like, I would just say some of the people that man is in connection with is actually insane. Like, I'm not even going to name names. I'm not going to tell the whole spiel, but like, I got a chance for him to kind of show me some of the messages that have come his way. And I was just like mind blown. Like I'm telling you, when I say this, I mean, it's like audience that like, like everybody in this room, plus everybody that's going to watch this episode will know. And just like hearing like messages from them, like, hey Vic, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, are you serious? Like that person just like messaged you, you know? So that's like super inspiring to me. And I told him, I'm like, the reason I really look up to you is because you're in a place that I want to be in terms of like in this fitness community, like and the amount of lives that you're going to impact. So I don't know. I think he's really sick. Like what about for you? Like what are some other like guests long-term that you want to have on?
Vic. Obviously there's Vic. I
Yeah,
think he
Vic's
was like
sick.
one of the first ones on the hit list.
Yeah.
We just had since the beginning.
That's crazy to actually side note. That's crazy because 2 months ago we probably were like, dude, we want Vic on, and like now for that to actually become a reality is like crazy to us.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Vic, what else?
I got to get my guy Jack West on P-Way.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I got to get C-Bum on here. That's kind of a big one, but I want to talk to C-Bum. Terrence Ruffin, Fool to Be would be insane. Max Taylor Lips would be dope.
Yep.
Nick Peterson, I don't know if you've seen him.
Mm-mm.
He does he does just fitness, but he does like the cinematography stuff.
There you go. So he does like video edits and stuff like that. Okay.
And then that might be no, I know I got a lot, but I just can't think right now. But
another lane that I thought about that would be super interesting. Well, one, we talked about like, hey, what do we actually want to talk about on the InspoCast? And
anything.
I think, yeah, like expanding our profile so that it's not just, well, I think the individuals on the podcast are going to be most known for being in the fitness industry or fitness community. I don't like calling it an industry, fitness community at large, but these people have knowledge in a lot of different areas, even outside of fitness. Like I was watching Modcast the other day, and I was watching cousin Crypto actually, and he was talking about crypto, and I was just like, I would not have expected this, but like I was very entertained. I was also very inspired because I was like, damn, this dude is like a self-made millionaire basically because of what he did. And there was a lot of value in that. I mean, one, that video got like 150,000 views. Like, it got something crazy. But I thought that was sick. I was like, damn, okay. So there's a lot more to talk about than just fitness. I think right now where we're at is like, it is kind of fitness related, but I think as we get more comfortable behind the mics too, it's going to be where we can start to talk about more stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I think, and there's also kind of like tiers to the guest list. Like when we're talking about people like, you know, major individuals in the fitness community, when we're talking about people like C-Bum, and we're talking about people like Max Taylor Lifts, like it's not like it's unreachable by any means, but it's going to take a lot of work to be able to get in contact with those people in the first place. Because I can only imagine, bro, if we hit up Max Taylor Lifts in the DMs right now, he'd be like, it would get lost, actually. He probably wouldn't even look at it. You know what I'm saying? So, no, long term, though, I mean, it's going to be a bright future for the InspoCast. I'm excited to see what happens. What stuff have you learned from doing the InspoCast so far?
I don't know. Communication skills, I guess.
Like how so?
I just able to speak better most of the time now. Like even I had a presentation like I think last Thursday. And I was obviously I get nervous either way, regardless. But I went out there, killed it. I felt like the man in that I was the man in the class. Everybody was, you know.
Everybody's got to speak.
I made someone look like a beta in there. You know your story?
Shit.
He was trying to make me sound like a dumbass when I was on the in the front. Like he was asking some stupid questions. And I just ignored him. I was like, any other questions? And then, you know, everybody started.
What was your presentation on?
The tax bracket.
Okay, interesting.
It was like ethical dilemmas in your general field.
And then what kind of questions was this dude asking?
He was like trying to ask some specific stuff, like how many people in the U.S. make over $100,000. I was like, I didn't look into that stuff.
47. No, it's not actually, but like, it's like, I have a rebuttal question for you, my friend.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
You're right.
Facts, though. I mean, who gives a fuck? Like, dude, we're in college, and I'm like, you're a freshman, right? Well, I am sophomore now, basically. But it's like, okay, you're 19 years old. Do you really give a fuck? Also, how much money do you make? Yeah, get the fuck out of here. So, dude, that's facts. But no, long term. Oh, I was gonna talk about this really quick. It's like when we were talking about the merch and stuff like that. It's like by doing something like that or creating some monetary value. Like obviously we want to provide value to the audience, but like the value that provides us is like I'm not here to become a millionaire. I'm just here to be able to get the opportunity to go talk to crazy people, and like, yo, what would be sick is we get to the point where we're actually making enough money to like.
Be full-time podcasters.
Yeah, I want to be full-time podcasters so we could push out like 20 episodes a month. I know y'all would appreciate that. You'd be so confused because you're like, bro, I literally was in the middle of watching this episode and I just saw another one pop up. What the fuck's going on? But two is like be able to literally like fly around the country and like go talk to these people. Because I know a lot of people like they don't want to do a virtual podcast, which I mean, I don't blame you. I think there's something to be said about having an in-person like conversation. But it's not really feasible when like, you're not making any money.
That's facts.
So that's at least my long-term vision with it. And I think one, to be able to bring those conversations to the table to people, like I can't think of like a Max Taylor Lifts like podcast or like, I mean, there's a few like C-Bums, but it's a different perspective with us, especially with people like young, hungry, and grinding in the fitness community, and also like started out doing podcasts. I know a lot of people, they think about modcasts, you think about like Legacy Loading. They started with different modalities, so to speak, in fitness before they ever started tapping into podcasts. And we were just like, yo, let's just start with that.
Yeah.
Because we just like talking. I like talking. I don't know about you.
I love talking. Well, one, like, I'm, I guess, comfortable.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? I was going to say something pretty nice. It was going to be a nice topic. And it just went.
Damn it. Did it revolve around like
networking?
Oh, okay.
Bro, networking is so crazy. Like, it can get you anywhere.
Who was it? I think it was like Jordan Belfort or something like that. Because, side note, with that dude, I mean, he literally, at some point, I believe he said he was a billionaire. Damn. I'm pretty sure. Like, he actually was a billionaire, and he went completely broke, right? And I think a big reason he was able to bounce back was because of the people that he knew and the people he surrounded himself with. So, like, money is one of those things that's going to come and go for you, but the one thing you're always going to have is the relationships you made. So that is infinitely more important than any dollar figure that you could put on your life.
Yeah. Because I'm like just thinking about networking, like the people I've been able to be in touch with already, and like just thinking about the future. Like, imagine we are going to be doing this in like 2-3 years. We're going to do this until we pass away.
Till we actually go to, quite literally, to the moon. Like, we're there with Elon chilling, and we're doing podcasts on the moon with Elon.
Literally.
Or Mars.
But, like, I'm just thinking about it, like, we're still all progressing day by day. So, like, we're meeting new people day by day, and I'm just thinking, like, once I, like, take my physique to the next level and start competing, I'm going to have so many connections in the bodybuilding industry.
Yeah. No, that's facts. Yeah. I didn't even think to this point, like, even at 20 episodes, like, you know, outside of just pushing this brand and pushing out more content, like, kind of selfishly, I love having these people on there because, like, they benefit me in weird ways. Like, I find myself, like, from the Parsa conversation, right? Like, I went out and I just bought, like, a bunch of vitamin support. And I was like, fuck it. But
we got the natty stack, baby.
Got the natty stack. We got the magnesium. We got the zinc. And we got the vitamin D, baby. But, yeah, like, shit like that. And I think being able to listen to some of the episodes before they even come out, like, actually listen to them, I learned so much shit from those too. Like, not even, like, I think we learn stuff when we're, like, in the podcast, but I think the weird thing is, like, we're trying so hard to, like, think, or at least I am. I'm trying to think so hard to, like, ask questions that sometimes I'm not necessarily, like, listening to the conversation. I'm trying to listen to, like, bits and pieces of it, but I'm still in my head, like, thinking about it. But then when I get to, like, go back and just listen to it and just hear the full raw conversation, I always learn so much from whoever we ended up talking to. So I think there's value obviously in the networking for sure, but even just in, like, whatever that individual we have on the podcast brings to the table.
Yeah. And it's also like we learn from other people too. So like I've probably every single podcast I've probably learned something I've maybe, like, just thought about constantly and, like, started implementing in my own life. So it's nice to learn from other people too. What
would you say are some of the biggest things that you've learned from the guests that we've had on the podcast?
Probably more like mindset stuff.
Like, anything in particular? Like, are there any podcasts that you think of where you were just like, damn, I really fucked with that, and, like, I really took that away?
Being grateful from episode 6, Brennan.
Yeah.
What else?
I know for you, because that wasn't one you talked too much in, but when you did talk, you said a lot of good shit. But, like, I remember afterwards you just being like, that dude's a genius. So I know, go check that episode out. That one honestly did not get nearly as much love as it should have. That one was like, that dude is so knowledgeable in so many different realms, not even just in fitness, but, like, just the mindset and being successful. So I agree though. Being grateful is definitely a big thing. What else?
I don't know, just, like, a lot about, I guess, the gym, like, fitness. I learned a lot from Parsa, like, about training, dieting. Jake, I know I learned a lot from him about the gym stuff. It's more like the mindset stuff and, like, the, I guess, like, the I don't know, like, the fitness stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, diet, training, and recovery.
Yeah, I think the coolest things that I've learned are, like, well, one, the One Dap Mindset. Shout out Willie. That podcast was insane, bro. Like, for that man, and Boz said it best. He was like, that man is one of the best creators in the TikTok space, and I truly agree with that. That man has a bright future. That's the other thing about this podcast. We invest in people that we know have a bright future in whatever, you know, community they're trying to grow, and he's definitely one of them. But, like, one day at a time, like, it's so simple, yet it just rings in your mind. Like, #OneDat, like, that always, like, we've said that multiple times throughout the podcast. And that's something that I think we're going to carry with us for the rest of our days, because that's how it really is. You just got to take it one day at a time. And if you do, you will inevitably get to that end goal that you want to, you know? I think you can apply that literally to anything. The other one I think about, Parsa, was definitely a good one. Go check that out. Episode 17, another one. Go give that some love, seriously. But that man is so, like how he speaks is one thing. He's like very eloquent how he speaks, but like the actual knowledge that he carries, like, yeah, I like to call it curating knowledge. Like he takes a lot of knowledge from a lot of different places, but he's kind of formulated that into his own thing. And I think there was a lot we learned from that. Like definitely the vitamin support stuff. Like I was listening back to it and I was just like, this is for real though. Like it wasn't even just a conversation about mindset. It was like, yo, if you do these things, like if you implement like vitamin D into your routine, like it's actually going to help you. And I was like, dude, that's actually beneficial for the audience. Like people trying to grow in their fitness. And then the third one that I really think of was, well, we've had some fun conversation. Baj was definitely a good one. I can't wait for y'all to check that one out. It actually airs tomorrow, funny enough. Today's Wednesday. But
Hump day.
Rodney. Bro, that dude, and that one's going to be, that's our episode 19, by the way. Holy crap, dude. Like, to see somebody that, like, literally had nothing, basically. I'm not even saying financial or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, it seemed like everything in his life. Like, he started from the bottom. This dude literally lost 200 pounds. He like, okay, I'm not even going to spit over episode 19. This is going to come out after that anyway. So go watch that damn episode. But like how he talked about, like, you literally just need to be grateful for every single day because you do not know when your last breath is. I was like, there is something so true about that because there's a lot of people that really do take that for granted. And I think he says that because he comes from a place where that was his reality. But like hearing his story, I literally felt like I was in his shoes, bro. Like, I was like, damn, bro, I can't empathize with you because I haven't been in a hospital bed for 6 months trying to, like, fight for my life. But, like, I can only imagine what that would feel like and, like, how grateful I would feel for everything. It's kind of like, I think about it as, like, you know, when you're sick or, like, when you have an injury or something like that, you definitely take that health for granted. And then after you get over that sickness or injury, it's almost like you're like, dude, this is fucking awesome. Like if you get like a cold or something like that, you're like, I can breathe out my nose. This is awesome. Like, oh my gosh, my knee, I can actually like do leg extensions and my knee doesn't hurt or, you know, whatever it is, right? Like that type of stuff, but for your whole entire life. Like I know you, and I know, you know, a lot of people like this. I know a lot of people like this. Just like they wake up and they're just like, fuck life.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit, bro. But it's like, yo, if you heard this story and you hear what a lot of people's situation is, I guarantee you wouldn't think that way. So, no, there's been a lot of really good conversations, and they just keep leveling up like every single podcast, I swear. Yes, sir. Questions. What's a question that you have for me? Yo, my question for you is what do you think is your major area of improvement when it comes to speaking on the podcast?
Just talking more, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's asking more questions.
Yeah.
Mine is talking less. So if we find a happy medium, then I think we're going to win. The audience is here for you, not for me.
It's here for both of us.
Yeah, you're right. Now they here just for the conversation. They here for the InspoCast, but
That's facts.
No, like this audience, I really do believe was created by our boy over here. I mean, you can disagree with that if you want, but like you're the one that was the main proponent for this in the first place. And I've seen a lot of the comments and a lot of the feedback, and it's come primarily from you, from people that resonate with. I mean, they resonate with both of us, but like they really directly know you, you know. So it's just like getting that confidence and being able to just like put yourself out there. Food for thought. It's food for thought.
It's crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it feel to be out of school, by the way?
Feels great. I've been kind of lazy the past few days. It's just, I got to get back to a routine.
I know. That's something big for you that you talked about. Actually, in the collabcast, I know you talked about it.
I was watching, before the podcast, I was at the gym, hit legs, and then I got showered. But before that, I was pretty much just eating my meals and watching Loaf all day.
Oh, I love Loaf. Yeah, he's so good, dude. Yeah. Damn. Like, what does a good routine look like for you, generally speaking? I think I've asked it before, but I'm curious again.
Like a productive, right when I wake up, get productive, eat my breakfast, and then just do like the basic stuff. Maybe go for a walk with my dog. Basically just like set up my day, set up like whatever I have to get done. I usually do that before I go to bed on my whiteboard, or like my go-tos for the next day. And then once I check those off, I usually just make content, edit reels and stuff like that. And then I hit the gym, and I come back and relax. And then I'm about to start working soon, so that should probably help too.
That's facts.
Yeah.
How did you come to the conclusion of a whiteboard?
One That Willie.
Like, actually?
Yeah. Like he would post about his one that mindset, and like he would have pictures on his wall, and I was like, maybe that would help me stay more on track and actually be disciplined with my diet and stuff like that. And so now I just have 2 pictures of me like at the first beginning, me super fat, and then I have like my main objective, like my priorities for every day, and then I have my task for the day.
Yo, so for people, how big is your whiteboard, by the way? We're not talking about like classroom level,
Probably
big,
like
right?
so for the people on the camera, probably like the size of my head, just in square.
Okay.
I have
So
a
it's
pretty
like
big head.
it's relative. Oh, okay, it's a
Yeah.
fucking huge whiteboard then. No, I think that's interesting because it's like I've never gone about it that way. I've always just done like pen and paper, like
Yeah.
that. Just like
I'm
works
kind
for
of
me.
bad about that.
No, and that's fair. I think a whiteboard's a very interesting way of going about it. So, hey, if you're really trying to get on that productive grind, like find a way, like for you, is it basically just like tracking your progress then? Or like, what is it? Like holding you accountable?
Tracking
Like,
progress, and I guess just having things that I have to do, like the gym. I have to go to the gym. Just stuff like that, I guess.
okay. So I do, if it's stuff that you have to do, it's like for you, because I know you always tell me you're like, I feel good when I'm able to check those things off. Like, I think it is kind of a, like almost like self accountability that you have with that whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, for the audience here, one, like plan out what kind of life you want to live, obviously long term, right? Like, are all these little goals that you have kind of relating to one big goal at the end of the day?
Just being productive and getting shit done, I guess.
But it's like, because you can be productive, but you can still like, how do I put this? Like, I could do a bunch of shit in a day and be productive, but that doesn't mean I'm necessarily reaching towards what I want to, Like, are all these things that you write down on there, like things that like that are helping you get to like a long-term goal?
For the most part.
Like, I think about like what you're talking about with like working out, right? Like, that's one thing that's helping you get towards a long-term goal of being an IFBB pro, right? I mean, I guess like really more just getting that 15 pounds down, but long-term still getting you to that IFBB pro. So yeah, keep the accountability measures in place and execute. Because folks, if you do, you're going to thank yourself later, and it's going to help you become that person that you actually want to be at the end of the day. So yeah, I guess, man, I used to use Google Calendar is what I used. So it was like I'd block out my weeks and with just like shit that I needed to do for work, but also try to incorporate things into my personal life. Yeah, this is something I actually just want to touch on really quick. Like, for anybody out there that's working like some sort of 9 to 5 right now, go find a side hustle.
Yeah.
That's honestly my biggest recommendation. And like, if your job does not allow you to do a side hustle, then you probably need to find a different job. Unless you want to be a doctor or you want to be an engineer or something like that.
Or a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, like, you think about like the, big boy jobs,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think there's definitely value in those things. And long term, they can take care of you, because here's the thing about being an entrepreneur, or the difference between like going into something like that versus being an entrepreneur is like, if you really do grind as like an engineer or a doctor or something like that for 30, 40 years, like when you reach the end of your life, you actually will be able to retire like comfortably and all those things. But if you're just working a dead end, like 9 to 5, it's paying you $15 an hour, or just like, bottom end wage, like, bro, you're going to hit the end of your life and you're going to be like, holy fuck, I still have to work. Like, this shit sucks. So and you're also probably miserable the whole entire time too. Right. So pick up a side hustle that you enjoy, like whether it just be talking to a damn mic, picking up, your fitness, like something that you could see yourself, as long as you keep doing it consistently, like long term, actually making some sort of money from it, and just do it because you want to anyways. You just don't have the fucking balls or I think that's it.
Yeah, it is that.
Like, I like this quote. It's like the reason you're not successful is because you do not respect yourself enough. It's like a lot of people do things that they know for themselves. I think it's different for everybody, but they know for themselves that is not good for them. And it's because of a lack of respect for themselves. Like, if an accountability comes into play there too, but it's like like if you have your best friend around you or something like that, or you have someone you don't know, like you're going to be like the best version of yourself. Or like, you know, if your friend came to you and they were like crying or something like that, like you're not just going to be like, dude, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like, stop fucking crying, you know? But I know a lot of people that would say that to themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, treat yourself literally like you are a person that you like admire and aspire to be. And if you do that, you will literally become that person.
Yeah, I agree. Because like Parsha was saying, it's all mindset. Like if you wake up telling yourself that your life is shitty, then that's what it is. Your life is shitty because you're telling yourself that. So you just got to be grateful every day and be like, I'm able to wake up, open my eyes, and do the things that I love, and you know, spend time with the people that I want. You know, it's honestly like it's crazy because like people, they fall into a trap of like blaming the world for their problems instead of facing their problems, getting over them. Because like everybody goes through their own shit, right? And like you just got to get to a point where you actually do something about it. Because like people, they just like to play the victim card. They just like to take the easy way out. They like to just, oh, I don't feel good about myself, but I'm still gonna keep eating this food. And just digging yourself into an even bigger hole. So, like, when you do want to change, it's already too late. Like, it might not be too late because you can still make a change. Like, we've seen it over and over on social media. But
it's going to be way harder.
yeah, it's going to be way harder. You're just making it way harder on yourself. And at the end of the day, everything in this life is a mindset. Like, if you want something, you're going to go do it. Because, yeah, like, looking at the people that I look up to, like, the people at the top already, they all say the same. Just hard work and stay consistent. That's it.
The knowledge is out there, dude. I really like what you said about the victim mindset because that's what Parsa touched on, right? He was like, you know, I know that's a thing about this generation of like, oh, I'm sick today. I'm not going to go do this, or I'm tired. He's like, I don't want to be the fucking sick kid. I want to be the strongest, best version of myself. I don't want to have fucking excuses. Like, that's the kind of life that I want to live. I think there's so many people out there that want to live that life, but they just like make this, like you said, it's a mindset thing. They just make this imaginary fucking saying in their head that they can't do it or something like that. It's like, bitch, literally everybody, I genuinely believe everybody on this planet is actually destined for greatness. It's just whether you tap into that or not. That's the only difference between you being you and if you want to be Chris Bumstead, you being Chris Bumstead. Right?
Yeah, literally. Because, I mean, I used to be in that victim mindset too, like 2 years ago before I even got into fitness. All day I would just literally sit in my house, not even want to go outside because I was even comfortable going outside, let alone take off my shirt, like go to pools or whatever. So pretty much I just game all day, eat snacks, sleep late, and just repeat the next day, and it was horrible.
I would encourage people to think about like why you don't want to do something. Like think about like, okay, let's say for an example, you get off work, right? You work a 9 to 5, and then afterwards you told yourself you were going to go to the gym, right? And that's also where the respect thing comes in too. Because if you tell yourself you're going to do something, like if your homie said they were going to meet you there at 7, I know your ass is going to be there. But if you told yourself you're going to meet yourself there at 7 and work out by yourself, you're probably not going to fucking do it because you're a lazy piece of shit. Sorry, I'm not. I know there are people out there that actually go to the gym and stay accountable. So shout out those people. But I know there's other people that don't. But in those moments, just ask yourself why. Like, it's like, wait, why don't I want to go to the gym? Or why am I not going to the gym, right? And then just say that out loud. Because I guarantee you when you say it out loud, you're going to literally think you're fucking stupid. And you're just going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee it. And that's a really good way of, like, tackling your problems at large. Like, think about what the worst case scenario is and why you don't really want to do something. And then out loud tell yourself, like, what kind of person you want to be at the end of the day and what goals you want to actually tackle in life. Because, I know it may seem like you can do it tomorrow, and you can, right? But time, like you'll hear this from the most successful people, is like time is very precious. Like you have minuscule amount of time in this life, and to achieve the level of success that you want, you need to be consistent damn near all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, and I think that's the difference between what success level you're gonna achieve. Like I think Joe Rogan had a good quote about that. He's like, literally, the level of discipline you have is going to lead to the level of success you actually create in your life, right? Like the people that are disciplined for 5 years and go to the gym for 5 years straight achieve a level of success in their fitness that people, you know, that had trained for 5 years but really hadn't been that consistent are going to achieve, right? So if you apply that mindset to basically anything in your life, right? Like even I think a lot of people, I mean, 70% of people in this country, it's like they get a paycheck and it's gone the next weekend, you know? So it's like have discipline in these areas of your life and it's going to pay off for you long run, and you're not going to run into the major problems anymore. They're not going to hit you because you're ahead of the curve now. That's the thing. And the other thing is like, I think a lot of people want to make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
This is a good thing I heard. It was like, more money equals more problems, right? I think everybody's heard that phrase, but the real answer is why. Like, why is that the case? And think about it like this, okay? If, you know, more money generally means more responsibility as well. Because if you want to scale a business or you want to scale really anything in your life, it's going to require you to, in essence, hire people. Like, you're going to have to bring people onto your team. Hold up. Because what you find out is like, yeah, I guess you could mow your grass or something like that, but that takes away 2 hours of precious time that you could spend, you know, optimizing a different area of a business or whatever it is, you know, like, so considering that, right, now you have employees on your team, you are literally responsible for fucking paying their paychecks, right? Like, you know, you're not running a very good business if like you're not going to pay people. So the amount of responsibility that you put on your plate at that point is like drastically increased. And that's why you hear of people like Elon Musk sleeping in the Model 3 Tesla factory for 3 years, telling people like, bro, I'm in the trenches with you guys, you know, like, and I kind of have to do this because I want to achieve a level of success that no one's ever achieved. That's the type of shit that you got to do, you know, but like how that changes the trajectory of your life is insane. And it's just fucking worth it at the end of the day, right? Just as worth it as it is to start your fitness journey today, right? Like, you know, you could have stayed that kid that was just sad and depressed and felt like shit all the time, but it's like, is that really worth it? No.
Hell no.
There's a price you pay for easy.
Yeah.
There it is. It came out again. It always fucking does, I swear.
And I also want to touch up on a little bit that. And I think the reason people fall into that trap is because they're scared of hard work. At the end of the day, they're scared to commit to something that's actually going to take time. Like, everybody wants instant gratification. It's much easier to, you know, eat a pizza while you're playing Call of Duty than go to the gym and eat some chicken and rice after. But at the same time, it's all like everything happens at the same time in the sense that when you're doing these things, like if you're not going to the gym, you're eating all this junk food, it's going to expand into other things like, oh, playing video games all day. Oh, I'm not even going outside anymore. Oh, I'm not even taking care of my body. I'm not taking care of my hygiene. It's just a big, almost like a, how do I say it?
Snowball effect?
Snowball effect, yeah. And it's the same way when you're doing good things. Like when you're going to the gym, you're eating clean, getting your sleep in, you're just making better changes. You're feeling better mentally. You're feeling better about your physique. And it just, it goes into other aspects of your life too, into your work, school, whatever. It's all correlation.
Parsa referred to it as a positive feedback loop is what it's called. So it's like, I think the analogy we had made was like when you go into the gym and like you don't want to film content or something like that. I think that's what we touched on, but it's like when you do that consistently, it's almost like you literally get that same dopamine sensation that you would from eating that fucking pizza, but like doing positive things instead. So reinforcing the good and kicking out the bad. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's just fucking worth it. Like, I don't think anybody, like, even now in their lives wants to be a fucking loser. You know, nobody does. So make the fucking change today, audience. If there's anything that you could learn from that, wow, we just want to know, like a fucking, oh, man, I liked that.
No, but it's crazy, too, because you can notice it on people.
Yes. I think, but it requires you, like you said, to stay disciplined and to stay, like, you got to almost make a contract with yourself and say you're going to do something, you know? And it really is hard, though. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but easy isn't as easy as you think either, because it's just putting you in a harder situation, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, like, either way, it's going to be really fucking hard. You just got to figure out which hard you'd rather have, and you got to have the mental fortitude to pick the right hard, if that makes sense. And it also, like, you know, we talked about this in the collab cast, like it gets fucking lonely too, like for sure, you know, like you'll see, because that's the thing, like that's when the bad shit happens, when you give into the way of other people's visions of like what happiness is. Like I know homies that I have that like, they just go out drinking every single weekend. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, that's what you want to do. And they probably have fun and they make connections and blah, 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 whatever. But I'm like, I'm doing bigger things, bro, and bigger for my life. Like maybe it's not bigger for your life. Like, I'm sorry, you're not the co-host of the InspoCast. Yeah. Like, but like, that's what I have to do. And that's a responsibility I've given to myself to be able to achieve the life that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because I think both of us, like, I mean, the InspoCast, I think, is the prime example of literally everything that we're talking about right now in terms of like, you know, disciplining yourself and making a commitment and being consistent. It really helps to have a partner for sure. And I think it helps both of us, like, you know, help areas of our lives that we need to improve on, you know, like there's a good mutual relationship here. But like, I think both of us see like what a long-term future of the InspoCast like has, and like what kind of people we can become through doing this thing, you know, like imagine if, you know, I think about like we stay consistent for 6 months, like where that takes us in the business. Yes. But 2, where that takes us as people, right? Because we're going to get more efficient. You know, we have literally dedicated 6 months of every single weekend doing this shit, bro. That's shit that nobody else is doing. I don't know if you know anybody. I can't think of anybody. I know a lot of these creators that are already doing the podcast, like that's all they do, bro. They just make content. They put themselves in that position. So I'm not hating on those people, but it's like, we're not there yet. And we're in this grind stage, and it's a place I don't see a lot of people. And I know long-term for us, it's going to fucking pay off.
Yeah. But you don't see a lot of people because not a lot of people are willing to commit.
That's
why there's like these small groups that end up blowing up in small cities, and they just end up relocating because not everybody's going to be able to do it at the end of the day.
No.
Like I saw this one guy, M3 Kobe. He's actually down to hop on the pod sometimes, so hopefully we can get him on. But he was saying anybody can, but everybody can't.
Facts.
Because anybody can do it, but everybody can't and won't do it.
Right. No, damn, there's some fucking truth to that shit. And that's why I think it's so important, you know, because we've had people that have reached out to come on the podcast. This is no disrespect to any of those people, by the way, but it's like, for me, I gotta like, and I know you too, like we gotta really see that vision for you of like exactly what we're talking about here, right? Like the consistency, the discipline, like all those things. And maybe it's just a young creator that like hasn't had the opportunity to make that impact yet. They just started late, right? But some of the people, I look at them and I'm just like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know if you really resonate with the message of like what we're trying to do here. And we only want to surround ourselves with people that are going literally to the fucking moon. Like, that's why our fucking motto is that, because we only surround ourselves with people that have that mindset. Like, not necessarily to the moon. Like, I think people are going to start adopting that soon. Shout out, baby. We trendsetters. Trendsetters, go-getters. Hashtag John Skywalker. Hashtag we want you on the podcast. But anyways, yeah, no, like those are the kinds of people that we surround ourselves with, because I know, dude, like, you know, when we talked about this the Vic situation, right? Like how much more dialed in we were and riled up about this shit, because he was somebody that we saw as like at a place that we wanted to be almost, right? Yeah. And it's no disrespect. Like, dude, we've had plenty of people like that. I would say everybody on the podcast that we've had has been like that to an extent. But at a level that we'd never seen was Vic. And so like, that's the shit that keeps me like upbeat, inspired, and motivated. And I don't think it's wrong with me or you to say, hey, those are the type of people we want on this podcast. The ones that are, trust me, audience, when you see this episode, bro, you're going to be like, that man's on a different level. Like he is. I know you'd agree with it, bro.
Yeah.
Like just in his life, like one, financially, two, how he's pushing himself in like his career, paving a career for himself, and his fitness, bro. Everything in his life is like up 3 notches from anybody else in their lives. Mm-hmm. So, and like the more you surround yourself with those people, the more you're going to become that person too. So that's why we really are pushing hard to increase our networking and surround ourselves. Like, dude, could you imagine a point where it's literally those are the only type of people we fuck with?
I mean, that's the 1%.
That's
Literally.
long term.
Yeah.
Where we want to be, and the thing is, that's where we're gonna be.
Exactly.
Because we make.
Bro, because I be seeing people that like post themselves at the club every weekend, and just like get half-assing Monday through Friday, and I think they're crazy. Like I dead ass think they're crazy.
I don't get it. I don't like personally, just because I think we've been on such a grind. Like at this point, it's just like we don't understand where the fulfillment comes from there.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that we're looking for too. Like we're looking for fulfillment. We're not looking for like the instant quick fix. Like, bro, we wouldn't be doing hour conversations if it was for instant gratification, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, how the first 15 minutes sometimes
But
is
the
a little
thing
rough.
is, they probably think we're crazy.
Yeah, no, they do.
Yeah.
Bro, I have plenty of people that are just like, why do you fucking do this? You know, they're like, there's even a chance that this thing doesn't go anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right, but it will never.
But the thing is, well, we're trying to get somewhere. They're remaining at nowhere.
Exactly. So that's the other thing. You got to take advice from people that are actually trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Papa Booch put it best. He was like, at least if you're doing something, you're moving. But if you, and think about it as like you're in a fucking like river, okay? And you're trying to move upstream. At least if you have to move to be able to move up the current, right? But if you're going nowhere, you're actually moving backwards. That's how life works, right? So you have to take advice too from people that are moving up that current, and also people that are moving up that current a lot fucking faster than you are too. Because here's the thing, there will always be people that are going to be better than you in some regard, or I'll put quotes on better. But yeah, take advice from those fucking people because they've already been through the shit too. That's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Plugs for the podcast. What should we give them?
InspoCast.com for everything.
Yes, sir. Yo, hey, give us some feedback on the website. I'm always down to do some upgrades to it. Give us some upgrade or some feedback on some upgrades we could make to the podcast, because even just the live setup, because we're always down to do that. As long as it's not like fucking $10,000. Fuck you if you do that. Yeah. And give us feedback on guests, because we are always down to have some sick ass motherfucking conversation with some motherfucking beasts, bro.
Facts.
Dude, I'm just like, I just keep thinking like 10 steps in the future. I'm trying to live in the present, but it's like, we got so much shit that we want to do. Like, I'm already sitting here like for July, like trying to plan out.
That's
like
my inspiration now.
Yeah.
Just taking it day by day. And then like, imagine like we're already going to be like the amount of progress we made in 2 months. We'll probably make that every 2 weeks now. And then from there, just continue exponential growth. And it's just crazy to think like where we're going to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years.
No, it's crazy.
It's going to be insane.
I am thinking about it short term though, because I'm just like, okay, you know, the better we perform in the next 3 months leading up to Houston is the better that turnout's going to be too. Because if, you know, we start just going ham on the podcast and everybody sees it as like, dude, this thing's just leveling up week over week over week. Like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, are they cooking up some crack in the lab? You know what I'm saying? When we go down to Houston, we will have this, like, it's almost like our resume, bro. Like, I feel like the InspoCast is our resume for like us. And then they're going to see this shit and they're going to be like, these guys are for real, for real. Like, I think anybody could go down there and just be like, yo, I want to collab with Sush or something like that. But it's like, I mean, do you really have the shit to back that up too? Like, I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, he's not, you know, I mean, you might get a conversation with him, but like, the thing is, to be able to even get your foot in the door with some of these people, like, you have to have built yourself up as well. I think that's something that anybody that's successful recognizes. Success recognizes success, and it doesn't matter what degree, but they're going to see that you're on a path to greatness. And I think for us, like, considering where we've moved in the past 2 months, like, for being 2 months in the game, we've definitely made like a serious trajectory up. But I mean, I think about the next 3 months, it's like we could go from, it's exponential growth, right? We go from here to like here, which would be huge. It's big time. Young money. Slight work. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Make a fat check. Yeah, that's another thing I'm actually after right now. Oh, man, I don't mean to talk about finance all the time.
But so bad.
I do too, actually. Damn. Should we take a quick break?
And then get into some juicy shit, like super juicy shit.
Yeah. What should we talk about?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break really quick. We're going to cross streams and we'll be back. We're back. That was a quick little pee break that we had, but juicy conversation. I wanted to touch on this really quick because, hey, we're just here. Like we said, we want to diversify a little bit. Obviously, we want to talk about fitness, but hey, we want to give some. I'm not saying we're coming from a place of like we're super successful or anything like that, but I think we definitely have some advice in some realms that would definitely help out. Like, I've definitely been able to help you out in a couple of different areas of life, and same for you with me. Like one thing that you have a lot of expertise on is just like social media and being consistent there and making like real genuine connection and stuff like that. But the one thing I've done really well is just try to form my life outside of social media and fitness. And that, like, one of those big things has definitely been through like career path. Like, one, being in a place where I've actually graduated college. This is one thing for the audience. Now, you do not need to have a college degree to be the best version of yourself. But like my dad phrased, he said, having a college degree guarantees that you have the opportunity to be the best version of yourself, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's never going to hurt you. Okay. Like, I mean, I think there will be people that would disagree with that to an extent, but college or further education could even look something like the military, like pursuing something, learning, like discipline, being in a community, like, developing your own skills. Like, all those things are super valuable. Like, even outside of just like the raw education that I learned from school, like it taught me a lot of other areas of life. And I think one thing that I was super fortunate to have was, one, a strong work ethic coming into my senior year. Like, that was something I developed, and actually like working a job while I was like in school. And I've learned a lot about the workforce, about people. And honestly, my one recommendation to anybody out there, bro, if you have social skills, go into sales. Like, it's no fucking joke. Like, I mean, I was telling you about financial. I'm not even here to like talk about like, I'm making all the money in the world, but it's like, I was in an industry, and it really depends on what your industry is too. Because depending on what your industry is basically what your pay scale is going to be. Okay. So example is like, okay, if you work in the supplement realm, your pay scale is dictated by the products that you sell, right? So in essence, the best like real estate agent in the world is making far more money than even the best like auto salesman in the world. I mean, there actually might be some comparison there, because I will say like exotic vehicles, they can honestly be in that price range, but I still think there's a discrepancy, because the biggest houses in the world are far more expensive than the biggest cars in the world. Like, let's be honest here. I've never heard of a $53 million car. I have heard of a $53 million mansion, right? But regardless, if you have social skills, bro, tap into that, because like your pay scale is just dictated by how much effort that you put in, and you can make a lot of money, dude. But like I was saying, so like with the supplement side, like it was a job where I was in essence getting paid like an hourly wage, and it was like literally like a 1% commission on all sales. So if I sell $100 worth of subs, I make $1, right? Like that's like nothing. I might sell 40 tickets in a week, and if I had $100 average, that means I made $40. Like, that's nothing. Okay. So decided to switch industries. I went into the auto industry, and it's funny enough, like, I think life comes full circle sometimes. And I had a lot of people that told me like, dude, you should sell cars. You'd be really good at it. And like, it was kind of subconscious in the back of my head. I'm like, yeah, probably. I don't fucking know. And funny enough, stumbled upon an opportunity. A guy had come up to me while I was selling supplements, and he was just like, how do they treat you here? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like financially. And moral of the story was, I had a conversation with him, and he's like, I'm going to be able to offer you financially more money than whatever they could offer you. I'm not saying dealership to dealership, but I'm saying from what you're doing now to where where you could go here, it's a totally different playing field. And I'll at least entertain the opportunity. I actually started this podcast first. I wanted to see how far we could get this going. And that's more advice I got for you guys here in a second. But after a few months, I was like, fuck it. I'll just, I'm going to do it. I want to see what happens. And yeah, he was definitely right. Like, even in my first month there, I've made more money than I ever did, even when I was in management at the other place. So it's like, the pay scale is completely different. I work a lot less, and it honestly is low key like less stressful. So like literally just a net positive. And now I actually have an ability to like control my income. But that kind of coincides with what I was going to say, rehashing back to like, starting your own business, which is you know, a lot of people are under the impression that it's like you need to like quit your job or whatever to go be successful in whatever your business was. And I genuinely thought that was the truth. Okay. And that was why so I had like a transitional period, and that's why I didn't accept that offer at first, the job I'm at now, because I wanted to see, I was like, you know what, I think I can turn this thing around into like something real, like something awesome, and I could do this full time. But like, I mean, as we know, like we're 2 months into it now at this point, and it's like, okay, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to the point of like where this thing is like self-sustaining, right? So my biggest recommendation to anybody out there that's trying to start a small business of any kind, or they want to scale it to Amazon level, I don't care what it is, you need to build that infrastructure first. Like you need to figure out how your business works in the first place, because you can't just start from ground zero and just go, right? Build it up and literally like put in the time outside of your 9 to 5 to go work on that, to the point where like you're basically transitioning that time over. So it's kind of like, okay, so right now you're working your 9 to 5, you're working 40 hours a week, right? And you're working 10 to 15 hours a week on your side hustle, right? Just kind of like a little bit of time, you know, maybe 2 hours a night, like during the weekdays. And then you still have your weekends off, like cool, right? And then it starts to gain a little more traction, right? And then you put a little bit more time into it. Now you're actually spending a little bit more time on the weekends, right? Doing it. And then you find out, okay, I'm getting a little bit more time off at work. Like maybe now I'm only working 35 hours. Let's put like 20, 30 hours into this bitch. Yeah, you're working 60 hours a week. Like that's in essence what I do. I work like 70 hours a week because I spend like 20 to 30 on this thing, you know, plus 45 to 50 at work. So, I mean, it's almost like 80, bro. That's crazy. But it's getting to the point where it's like, I'm starting to be able to transition more time over to the podcast while still being able to like financially take care of myself. Like financial health, I think that's just a realm that we need to talk about more, is just like, when we're talking about the InspoCast and we're talking about fitness, I think we're more than anything, we talk about motivation, mindset, but we're talking about like health at large. And there's different aspects to your health. Like we've talked about mental health, right? We talked about physical health, obviously. And we've talked about a little bit about financial health, but like that's a super important aspect of all of this too. Like I know you were talking about, hey, let's talk a little bit about crypto. It's like cousin crypto, baby. But you have to be able to financially take care of yourself. Like, I mean, everybody has some sort of bills. If you don't, like, bro, you're actually like insanely fortunate, bro. Shout out you. And at that point, yeah, I mean, disregard anything I'm fucking saying. Yeah. Like, you're probably not going to have problems like this, and you probably aren't listening to this podcast anyways.
Here's one thing I want to say too.
Yeah, what's up?
With taking a risk, especially for the young people like around my age, while you still have a safety net above, like you have a roof over your head, your parents are putting food on the table for you. While you have that safety net, now's the time to take risks. Now's not that time to get comfortable and sit back and, you know, wait for a 9 to 5 to come, because then you're just gonna fall into that 9 to 5 trap. Like probably your parents did too. Like that's just the reality of it. So, you know, if you really want it, you know, use while you're young, use that advantage that you have, save up all your money, and, you know, do what you think you want to do in the future, and just learn as you go.
Every year that goes by, it gets significantly harder because you're gonna have less and less of that safety net. And also, this is a good thing that my dad talked to me about. He was like, from the ages of 20 to like probably like mid to early 30s, like it is actually super cool to fuck up. Like genuinely like cool to fuck up and also ask questions. But then once you reach a certain point, when you start asking questions, like you're in your 40s and shit, it's like, bro, you should already know that, you know, like you're 40 years old at this point, and that shit's going to hit you a lot faster than you think. And like, I don't mean to put it like this, but I genuinely think about it as like my life. It's like, I'm either going to be a winner or I'm going to be a loser. Okay. And if I'm not asking questions now, and I'm not trying to, you know, grow more myself and my personal development and all these other things, like I myself am becoming a loser day by day doing that shit. Like, it's not being pessimistic. It's just like, I want to be that winner, and that's when I feel optimistic, you know? So it's like, you have this time to fuck up now too. So just like go after it. Like if you want to start, you want to be a fucking SoundCloud rapper, I don't care what you want to do. Like do it. Like just go do it, and you have to commit. Like 6 months, say, I'm going to do this for, just commit time. Like, okay, like a routine, right? Like what you talked about, like that helps you a lot. You know, like how you do it is you block maybe at night, like an hour or two to go to the gym, right? It's not super specific, but you know you're going to go to the gym, right? So have a task list of what you want to do. Do it 3 to 5 times a week and build up that consistency. You don't have to start with 7 days a week, 40 hours a week right off the bat. In fact, that's how you're going to burn out. So just start small, build that habit, and you're literally going to get an addiction for like working on whatever this thing that you're working on is. So that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I have for people. But to be able to fund your passion sometimes too, you need a job.
Yeah.
Like you do. Like I was fortunate enough to have a lot of this stuff, but even now, you know, being able to have more of a consistent income and being able to control my income too, like work harder at work while working harder here, which is something I do. Like I'm able to actually invest more into the podcast. And, you know, one thing, hey, shout out Modcast, by the way. I really loved the Cousin Crypto episode, but it's like, yo, invest into like assets. Okay. Like, because here's what they talked about, at least in the podcast, was like inflation.
Yeah.
And how, you know, if you have, because I know there's a lot of people out there that just say like, yo, I'm cool with my $10,000 in savings. And I actually, you know, I have family members like that. I have people I know like that. And hey, shout out those people, bro. You got 10,000 in the bank account? I don't, you know? So I mean, you're well beyond me there. But the thing is, if you keep that 10,000 in your bank account and you wait till next year,
You're gonna lose value.
that 10,000 not the same 10,000, especially as we've seen with everything that's gone transpired over the past few months, even years, right? Like this jug of water right here, when I first started drinking these motherfuckers, they were 81 cents. I bought this for $1.12 the other day from Walmart, bro. That's like a 30 cent increase.
25%.
That's like a 25% increase. And that applies to, that's just water, bro. Think about everything in your life, right?
Yes.
You know, like you get that 9 to 5 and hey, they give you a $5,000 raise this next year. Cool. Bro, that basically made you break even.
The thing is, they don't even do that.
Yeah, and they don't even do that. Like generally speaking, you're probably getting paid the same amount. So like really, if anything, you're actually losing money year over year. Mm-hmm. So to actually, you know, this really put it into perspective for me. It was like $100,000 really is not a lot of money. Like it's not, especially nowadays. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, $1,000 actually would have been like a pretty decent amount of change. But I mean, one, how many people were making that much money? Two, it's like now, like not really though, you know? So find things to where you can put your money in them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for us, it's like putting into this podcast and allowing this platform to grow, because long term, you know, having a community that backs the message that we're trying to promote is like invaluable, bro. Like, you know, when you have supporters, like if Apple didn't have supporters of their product or of their brand, then they wouldn't sell any products, right? So if you have people that are supporters of your brand and your message, like, you know, whatever you put on the table, they're probably going to want to invest into, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, build up whatever that is for you and for yourself to secure. Not, I mean, that's why it's not all about balance either. Like, I think, you know, you just, like, the most successful people in life are probably the most unbalanced people in life. But it's like really committing yourself to something and saying you're going to do it. So like a lot of those things revolve around fitness, you know, like Parsa talked about in episode 17. It's like that 2-hour investment that you make into the gym is going to make you more productive in the rest of your life. And, you know, the 8 hours that you spend at your job, and then the 3 hours that you spend outside of that job is going to be more valuable than whatever you do at work, because that's investing in yourself, right? So find whatever way you can to invest into yourself. Take care of yourself from a financial standpoint. And if you have social skills, invest into sales, because that's how you can control your income. Holy shit. Sorry, I know that was like a super big tangent there, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. Hey, we got Cousin Crypto Jr. over here that actually wanted to talk about crypto for a second.
I actually want to talk about savings account first.
Ooh, I like this.
Because I used to, like, when I was like 17, I was so big on crypto and stocks just because I was like trying to get into my self-improvement phase. So I'll tell the story after this, but as the game's 4 to 8, I'll talk about it a little bit after this. But let's say you have that $10,000 in your savings account, right? So the average bank will give you 0.01% of interest.
Correct.
So you're basically making 1/100 of a penny, whatever it is, based on your money.
You're making no money.
You're making no money. Inflation, also, you're losing the value on your money. So what I'd recommend, I'm 18, don't take advice from me, but
Don't take financial advice from us in general. Go to like a professional financial advisor if you want real information. But like from our experience, like these things have worked.
Yeah. So what you do, I mean, you can leave like most of your money in your savings account. That's just like a safety net, emergencies. You know, whenever shit happens, have that there. That's honestly the first thing you want to do. Have money saved up for emergencies and stuff like that.
Yep.
And just basic expenses like your bills and stuff like that. Obviously, that just goes in like with budget and stuff like that. You know, setting money aside for this, that, whatever. And then honestly, I'd recommend a Roth IRA. So your money's making interest on the interest over time. And then once you get to like 65, I know you've seen those like charts, right?
You'd be a millionaire.
Exponential growth. But also I'd recommend getting into stocks like ETFs. I wouldn't recommend like penny stocks or just pump and dumps unless you know what you're doing. But even then, it's like a high risk, and you're most likely going to lose money. So it's more about the long-term investing, finding assets. And I'll tell a story about 4 to 8. So he actually started out, I find him on TikTok. He started out doing like free call outs for stocks and stuff like that. So that's why I got into stocks. He made a whole Discord server, posted some stuff on there he used to do for free. And then it's just exponential growth. He just kept growing it. And it's just, like, I think today he has like 150,000 members. And like it's membership now. So like the $20 membership that he had is now like $80 a month. But that's not even what I want to talk about. So this guy, he's like 23, 24, probably over $10 million, plus like not hundreds of millions, but you know what I'm saying, millions of dollars in assets. So he started out as this basically small trader. He invested his money. He used to work at a restaurant as a waiter. I was going to say waitress, but it's a guy. And he'd basically invest all his money and save it. So that's number one, save it. And then number two, what he started doing with that investment, eventually he had enough money to go out and do a side hustle. So he started doing a side hustle. And when that built up, his side hustle took over his main job. So at that point, his side hustle was his main job. And he just started getting into real estate, laundromats, just anything, assets. And it just builds up over time. And he buys like, oh my God, like I can't even like put it into this podcast, it's so much, but he does Airbnb arbitrage. He owns Airbnb. He actually owns the properties. He owns like duplexes. He owns multifamily apartments, apartment complexes. It's like it's a lot, and he's like 24.
Dude, that's the thing. Like, this is a term for the audience. I don't know if anybody's heard it or not, but liquid assets is what they're called. So obviously, you know, long-term, the play for creating long-term wealth for yourself is assets, but things at the end of the day that you can like call it almost like stripping cash for. Like, you know, you think about the situation with Elon Musk, right, where he was able to buy Twitter. Like, it was like, what, $46 billion? I don't know what the exact figure on it. So $44 billion, right? Now, it wasn't like he had $44 billion sitting in his bank account. That's not how it worked. What he did have, though, was $44 billion in liquid assets. So what he was able to do was sell those things off, and in essence, almost immediately. So example would be like a house. Like, bro, the housing market right now is stupid. Like if you bought a house or you bought a piece of property like 20 years ago, I've seen so many for sale signs up. Like they're just cash crops. Like it's literally like if you're close to retirement, you sell that bitch right now. I mean, you're going to make, you know, like 10x whatever your initial investment was. But even if you don't, you know, you can still keep renting this property out, and that's residual income. All you're paying is the taxes on that. So long term, it's really just like invest into assets and liquid assets so that, you know, at least like it's like you really shouldn't ever have that much money like you should have enough money to be able to, like, if you're in a pinch, like be able to like dispose of that whenever you need it, right? But outside of that, just pump all of it into investments. Like hell, if you have to, like what the play really is like get loans, bro. Like go get loans and just keep investing into these businesses. And, you know, like one, you're not going to get absolutely demolished in taxes that way because you're constantly spending your money too, but into things that are going to generate you long-term wealth. Yeah. And then long-term, it's like, yeah, you have 10 to 12 assets, you know, you own 6 Airbnb properties and 4 laundromats, bro. Like you're set. You're literally, you know, at that point, you've already paid these things off. Like you're just sitting on residual income from all these things. All you have to do is pay the taxes on those things every year. Bam, you're done. So yeah, if you want to create long-term wealth, don't take advice from us because we're not there yet.
You can talk to me in like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, talk to us soon. But that, and like he talked about with that example story of start with your main hustle because you need a source of income. Like you can't just, that's the thing you're sitting here probably wondering is like, okay, well, how do I even do that in the first place? That's why you have a main job in the first place. You need to save that money. Don't piss it down the drain on Gucci, bro. Like actually put that money into something valuable for now, your savings account, get that to $10,000 and then bam, then go make that investment. Like another story I heard was actually the owner of the place that I work for now. Like, cause fun fact, this dealership is actually backed by real estate. Funny enough, it sounds weird, but like since he's, you know, a small business owner, like, you know, it all really falls on him, right? And so how it works is what he did, at least initially what he did was, well, one, he started flipping cars and he started making some money that way. When he started really making some real money, then he saved up about $10,000 and he bought a property and he started renting that out. And so it would use that money to pay off the mortgage on the house, right? And add a little bit of money that he would have as just income from that. And then it came to the point maybe 5-6 years later where he sold that property. You know, he paid no money on that basically. He had $10,000 in his bank account, just like a lot of people do, right? Or I don't say a lot of people, there are people that do. And he took a risk and he turned that $10,000 into $70,000 when he sold that property.
So crazy.
Yeah. And that's a reality for so many people. It's just like, you got to know when you make that kind of money, what you need to do with it. And what you need to do with it is put it into things that you know are going to make you money. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, land is a non-renewable resource. Like, it's not going anywhere and the price of it's only going to increase over time. So it's kind of a no-brainer, like, to put your money there. It's a good place. I mean, for fuck's sake right now, like, bro, if you have a car that you have paid off and you have your ride situation figured out for future, like, dude, that's an asset right now. Like, I was looking at the price of my car. Like, basically, I would make, I spent $11,000 on it, right? I got a warranty and stuff like that too, but I'd get paid back on that, like $2,000. And I would make, if I had my car paid off right now, I'd make $5,000 on my car, bro. Like, trade-in value. That's not even just the listing price of the vehicle. Like, it's crazy. So just kind of think about those little things over time, secure yourself from a financial standpoint. And when you do, bro, everything, like, I think a lot of people's stress does correlate with financial stress. You know, I think there are things that people need to work on, obviously, in their health and fitness and in their mental space and all these other things. But like, there's different quadrants of like what encompasses your health. And if you're failing in one of those categories, then you're more than likely going to start failing in all those other categories. It's kind of like the thing of like what you talked about with like the habits. Like, when you have the bad habits, you know, they're going to keep accumulating over time and they're going to start taking up other areas of your life, starting with one spot, right? So think about that in terms of your health. Financial is something I know a lot of people struggle with. So if you really secure your financial health, I fucking guarantee you that other aspects of your health are just going to drastically increase. Food for thought.
Yeah.
A little slight piece.
Slight piece.
Slight piece.
Mini piece of the pie.
Yes, sir. Damn, dude, a lot of knowledge in this podcast, man. Holy shit. We talked about a lot of shit. We kind of like went on a tangent there, but I think it was a good one, if anything.
Yeah.
Talking about, dude, that was like, this is literally what the InspoCast is about, by the way. Like, exactly what we're talking about. Like, the documenting our journey to share with you guys so that, you know, you can adopt that young, successful mindset in whatever you set out to do, and just learn from our mistakes, right?
We're all human.
Yeah, we are all human. That's the truth. And getting excited for the future of this podcast, dude. I want to talk about the supporters of this podcast really quick, bro, because like, we have some real supporters of this thing, man. And it is like, it's so rewarding to have that, because I know there's a lot of people out there just in their lives that don't have real supporters. Like we talked about like Bosch the other day, like, and you'll see that here. Well, I guess this episode will be out after the fact, but anyways, like, it seems like you almost need to have supporters, bro. And like, that's tough, man. But like, when you have supporters, bro, it changes your life forever. And I'm just so grateful to have, to literally impact people's lives through just talking on a microphone, bro. Like, I never would have thought that like we would really change lives like we do, even at the capacity that we do. You know, I'm not saying it's like hundreds of thousands of people, but even the dozen that have sent messages, bro, like, super grateful. How about yourself? What do you think about our supporters, bro?
It's inspiring. Super grateful. It's just nice to know that people actually fuck with what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm also appreciative of the haters out there too.
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
gonna say that really quick because y'all are the ones that actually push us to really keep doing this podcast. One, we want to prove y'all wrong. Two, I think you can't always think optimistically and positively. Like you have to see what the worst case scenario is, and I think the criticism that comes from the negative side or the haters, so to speak, in some sense is valuable. It's a perspective that we don't necessarily see all the time. And it really does help us improve this podcast. Like I know we had one person that was like, at least we thought about it, was like, bro, you guys are pumping a lot of episodes, bro. Like y'all need to chill. And we thought about it. We're just like, yo, like actually though, should we pace ourselves? And like, it at least kind of got the brain stirring in terms
But then
of
there
like,
was a comment after that. There was like, keep pumping them out.
yeah, and it's like keep pumping them out.
Crazy.
And that was kind of our vision anyways. And I also remember the comment on one of the TikToks that we had. It was like, these no blow Joe losers like doing this podcast. Why would I watch this shit? And that was a message to me, at least, that was like, this person's just strictly speaking from a place of hate.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even criticism. It was just hate. And if that's the person that you want to be, bro, like by all means, like you can do that. We're not going to give that shit any time. Like those are not the people we want to surround ourselves with. But like that was just fuel for us to say like, yo, watch us. Like when Baj talked about his the one hater that he had, like the bitch titties in a brawl or something like that. And then that was the TikTok that blew up for him. He tagged him in it and was just like 7 months later. Like I genuinely think like I'm gonna have that comment on a TikTok and just be like, hey, guess what, bro?
I do that a lot sometimes.
Yo, just fucking prove all the haters wrong. Dude, that should be the motivation for so many people out there. That's the thing. Whenever you try to grow a platform in any scenario, like, dude, the greatest people in this world have the most haters. Maybe it's only 2% of the people that follow them, but like, okay, if they have 1 billion people following them and 2% of them hate them, that's a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're going to have haters regardless of what you do. I'm not saying like just listen to the hate. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there may be some valuable feedback in there that actually could level up whatever you're trying to do and is at least worth considering. So be grateful for any kind of support that you get, whether it be good or bad. Because at the end of the day, too, it is viewership.
That's facts.
Yep. Always going to boost the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. That's what I like to say. Yes, sir. You want to keep talking, or we wrap this up? You seem tired. No one can hear you. All right.
What are you going to talk about before?
What are we going to talk about? Like our last little thing here?
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I think we should just talk about what 21 through 30 is going to look like and kind of like what our vision is for that. And yeah, the supporters thing was something I kind of want to touch on, but we already just touched on that. So, I just want to say like, thank y'all everybody for all the support up to episode 20. This shit's kind of crazy. And so, we take this one episode at a time and we set our goals 10 episodes at a time. So you just wait. You're going to see over the next 10 episodes how this podcast keeps leveling up in terms of the conversation. There might even be more upgrades of the podcast. Who knows? But just know great conversation is going to keep occurring, and we're going to keep having great guests on here and getting ourselves out of our comfort zones, bro. Like it's honestly sometimes like super uncomfortable to like reach out to some of these people and just like ask them to be on the podcast. But like by the end of it, dude, it's always worth it. So the more of those people that we have on, the more audience we bring to this channel, the more everybody's going to benefit. And you just wait. Like by the time August hits, this thing's going to be at a completely different level, dude. This is going to be exactly what we saw it as in the beginning, man, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. So I just got to say thank y'all to the audience. And thank y'all for tuning into this conversation. I think it was a good recap of kind of what's happened over the past 2 months and where this thing's going in the future. What about you? Last closing remarks here.
Thank you for the support. It's always appreciated. And stay tuned because it's only the beginning.
# to the moon, baby. So, closing remarks here. Make sure to like this, comment. If you're not subscribed, fuck you. Then you already know what you got to comment in the comment section down below. Hashtag Daryl. I know you're gonna love that one, Caleb. He's gonna see this shit later and be like, "Fuck you, dude." But anyways, outside of that, make sure to stay tuned in with Instagram and TikTok. I'm gonna be dabbling a little bit into the YouTube Shorts. I want to kind of see how that stuff really works because I don't really know. I posted one, but I was like, yeah, we got 9 views, so we'll see where that goes long term. And also definitely make sure to stay up to date with the website because, like we said, merch is going to be coming soon. And it's going to be sick AF. Y'all are going to love this. We're going to have a prototype here in the next few weeks. Hopefully we have it by next week. That'd be sick. And let us know what you think of it. But that's really it. I don't think I have anything else. Anything else that you want to plug?
Make sure you watch episode 21. I'm super excited about it. Mr. Jameson Braun. It's going to be a banger.
Yes, sir. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, episode 21 with Jameson Braun. Freaking 50s. I don't know. I think
55.
He's like 55-year-old legend, bro. This dude's about to step on stage. He's one of the most impactful, I would say, fitness individuals in the community, bro. Like, especially here locally, but I would even say at a broader spectrum. In Men's Health magazine, he's been on several stages. This is actually his first prep where he's self-prepping himself.
Yeah.
So make sure to stay tuned for that because that is going to be an epic conversation. Make sure, well, I guess that episode we'll be doing that before this episode comes out, but we'll make sure on Instagram to get some questions from people because we want to come in with some good quality questions for our boy Jameson. And yeah, stay tuned for the rest of the guests. I know we've talked to a few other people, maybe a few creators from Houston, which would be sick. Dip our toes into there, baby.
Thinking about that. When we go to Houston, we can get that girl in person.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. But yeah, no, long term, just stay tuned. And, like we said, we appreciate all the support. But that is going to conclude episode 20. Episode 20. We're in the 20s now of the InspoCast. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.